the Japanese Alps, haunt of a remarkable population of primates, snow monkeys. The extremes of the seasons, the complexities of family life, and the stresses of the modern world test their toughness and ingenuity to the full. It thrusts some monkeys into the limelight and left others being hunted down like vermin. This is the story of three troops leading very different lifestyles. On their trail is a young primatologist who wants to uncover the secret lives of Japan's snow monkeys. It's autumn in Jigokudani, or Hell's Valley, and one very special troop of snow monkeys is on the move. These are wild animals, free to roam anywhere on the mountains. But every morning they have a very important appointment they can't afford to miss. For years now, they've become accustomed to handouts. But it's not just the grain that draws them out of the forest. There are volcanically heated springs here too. And there's nothing like a hot bath to start the day. But this troop hasn't always had these luxurious facilities at their disposal. 40 years ago, they were like any other wild troop. But then one young monkey began to mimic the behavior of human bathers, who came to the valley to take the waters. Her boldness was about to change the life of the whole clan. As others quickly followed suit, the Hot Springs troop became international celebrities almost overnight. But fame carries a price. Every morning the troop must face their adoring fans. These A-list primates are some of the most photographed animals in the world. Their lives may now be easier, but all food is valuable. And these clever monkeys have even puzzled out how to retrieve grain from the bottom of the hot springs. Each monkey has its own technique. Some head for the deep end, filling their cheek pouches on each dive. Those that don't like getting their heads wet shuffle around in the shallows, which means some nifty footwork if they're not to go hungry. Their ingenuity comes as no surprise to one particular visitor. Biologist Takayo Soma has studied primates in Africa for 10 years. But she's become increasingly fascinated by the monkeys that live in her homeland.
I
was born just a few miles from here, and the snow monkeys I know are those I see around my family's farm. Unlike the pampa troop up at the hot springs, these monkeys lead a very hand-to-mouth existence. When I was young, it was a rare treat to see them this far down in the valley. But in recent years, snow monkeys have started to raid farms and begun to cause some real problems.
On the family farm, Takayo and her mother check the orchards, as much for signs of unwelcome visitors as for the ripeness of the crop.
I'm amazed how one animal can provoke such extreme reactions. While the hot springs troop are adored, these crop raiders are hated. I want to find out more about how and why they've ended up living such different lives.
It's ironic that the hot springs troop can gorge themselves on apples to their heart's content. The daily feeding makes this the perfect place to watch monkeys going about their day-to-day business. And there's lots to be learned. The wardens keep detailed records that stretch back over 40 years, so individual family trees can be traced for generations. These logs reveal the complex power struggles that shape snow monkey society. And there's one character who dominates the rest. The reigning queen. Surrounded by her sisters, daughters and aunts, she is at the helm of a fearsome female dynasty. Anyone stepping out of line feels the full force of the sisterhood. These aren't empty threats. Serious injuries are not uncommon. The sisterhood even decides the status of the males. For the moment, this male is the chosen one. Woe betide anyone who gets in his way. But his future ultimately depends on him staying on the right side of the queen. As long as his face fits and his performance is up to scratch, then his legacy will be assured. For the moment at least, his position seems secure.
On a first impression, this troop seems to have it all. The extra food they are given means this group is now far larger than most wild troops. At a last count, almost 200 individuals. Clearly, this is not how the vast majority of snow monkeys live. And it's those other troops I'm really interested in finding out more about.
For this, Takayo needs to travel only a few miles away. But it feels like another world. This is the Kamakochi Valley, the very heart of one of Japan's most famous national parks. All life here revolves around the Azusa River. And eventually the mountain troop put in an appearance. Every day they must brave the frigid water as they crisscross the valley in search of food.
The first thing that immediately strikes me is how much smaller these monkeys are. Maybe half the size of those living around the hot springs. And they're much more wary. The atmosphere within the group feels very different too. Here it's generally much more subdued. They appear to be so focused on finding food that there's just no time for all that squabbling.
The troop covers several kilometers every day, feeding on whatever they can find. Leaves, berries, insects, even tree bark. There's certainly less drama than at the hot springs, but power in this troop still lies in the hands of its females. The subordinate monkeys often scout ahead looking for food. But as soon as they stumble onto something tasty, the dominant female and her family muscle in. Rank always holds sway. As the days shorten, it's clear that it's not just status that matters up here, but experience too. The intimate local knowledge of the older monkeys, where to cross the river safely, where to seek shelter during storms, where to find food, must be crucial, especially as they prepare for harder times. For the next few months, deep snow and sub-zero temperatures are the monkeys' constant companions. Surviving in this frozen world ought to be a real challenge. Yet on the face of it, life for the Hot Springs troop carries on much as before. They still roost in the sheltering forest and roll out each morning for their daily feed. Only a narrow stream stands between them and breakfast. Fed by warmed water from deep underground, it never freezes, even with the mercury stuck well below zero. The hardest job of the day is sifting the grain from the snow, but compared to finding food in the wild, this is a minor inconvenience. Being fed every day has obviously left them with time on their hands, time they fill in some ingenious way.